Hey, Westernized friends and family. I like things simple. Probably because most of the time they aren't. I mean, Rusty talked about having a project, a renovation project, always costs more and goes longer than you expect because not everything is simple. So I like things simple. Whenever I can grab a hold of something simple, I latch onto it. Which should be no wonder then why I latch onto a verse, Galatians 5:14. It says this, "For the whole law can be summed up in this one command, love your neighbor as yourself." Dude, that sounds pretty simple. The idea here is that no matter what situation comes, the appropriate response is that I should love in this situation. I should do what is most loving in this situation. That seems simple, right? Well, there's a problem. The water gets muddied. You see, what I think might be situationally loving in this moment, another person may not think the same thing. Or even putting this not even on another person. What I think is situationally loving in this moment, another moment, I may think another thing is more situationally loving. And so what I do is kind of a moving target. Do I love? How do I love? What does this look like? Where does it go? This idea of what is most loving or what is situationally right in this moment, that idea led to the writing of a book in 1966. The author was a man by the name of Joseph Fletcher, who was a former priest turned atheist. And he wrote a book in 1966 called Situational Ethics. And the push and the purpose behind his book was really to promote a new morality. Instead of a morality that focused on just reading scripture and what God had said, it's really the morality kind of based upon a Galatians 5 understanding of saying, all right, in every situation, let's do what is most loving. The thing is, this kind of idea catches on. And it sounds good. And it sounds wonderful in a lot of ways. This new morality is based upon what is situationally appropriate at that time as far as we can see. But the problem with situational ethics is not that it asks us to look at a situation to figure out how best to act in that situation. In fact, Scripture supports that kind of idea, is that in places like Deuteronomy 22 and then 1 Corinthians 7, there are situations that are brought up, and the ethic of it is trying to be understood of how we should act in this situation. So the problem is not looking at the situation. The problem is that, well, let me illustrate it this way. Let me illustrate the problem this way. Let's suppose we all think that stealing is wrong. Blanket statement, to steal is wrong. But what if? What if I'm in need? I have a need, and I have the thing that I need is available, and I could steal it. Now, more than that, I can not only steal it, no one will get hurt. I'm not going to get caught and get hurt. And even if I did, it wouldn't be no penalty involved. And the person I'm stealing from, or the institution I'm stealing from, or whatever, they're not going to be hurt from this either. So it's a win-win. No one's going to get hurt. It is filling a need that I have. The question is, would you steal in that situation? Thing is, most of us would, even though we believe stealing is wrong. In that kind of situation, we might convince ourselves, well, in this moment, it's right. See, we've convinced ourselves that in the moment, something is more true than in another moment. Or in this moment, something is more loving than it was in another moment. Truth, love, ethics then become a moving target. Situational ethics is hard to understand because it's always moving. It's a moving target. It's kind of like the difference between the golden rule and what some have called the platinum rule. Now, I'm sure you grew up understanding the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do to you. And it's really a pretty good rule of thumb in a lot of situations, but that's the thing, it's actually a situational idea. Because what I want done for me in this moment might be different than what I want done for me in the next moment. And so just do what I want done in this moment. That's a situational ethics idea. But the platinum rule comes from John 15:12 and a few other passages. Jesus says this is my commandment, love each other in the same way that I have loved you. In other words, Christ is asking us to love. Remember that first passage that we should love each other? The whole law and prophets are summed up. Love your neighbor as yourself. Christ says this is how you love. It's not defined upon what you think and what you want. Golden rule situational idea. It's how Christ has already loved. We love as Christ loves. We do as Christ does. As he did and as he still does. That ought to be our ethic. That ought to be our role. That ought to be how we walk. And so, family and friends, I encourage you. Do as Christ has done in every situation. Love you guys. Hope you have a fantastic weekend.